Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday to you. Hope you're all feeling well and doing well. Thank you for joining in to CTK Live today. I'm going to take just a moment and let folk gather. Please feel free, if you're so inclined, to check in just to let us know you're here. You don't have to say anything fancy or smart or elaborate. Just can say good morning, or I miss you all, or I love you all very, very much. So we'll take just a moment or so and let folk check in, and we'll get going. We've got a pretty packed schedule today, so try to keep things moving right along. But good morning to you. Good morning to Janine. Good morning to Sam, to Ken and Mishan. There's my daughter Isabella. Good morning. Michael Toller, Michelle. Probably missed some at the beginning while I was playing. There's Miss Julie. Good morning, Joel. Good morning, Stephen, Melanie, Candy. We're going to pause for just a moment and calm our minds and our bodies. So I invite you, wherever you are, to maybe close your eyes, to relax. If you're driving and listening through Bluetooth or something like that, then keep your eyes open. You know that, of course. Maybe take a few good deep breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Be aware that wherever you are, you're in God's presence. There's no way you can flee from God's presence. You are enclosed and encircled by the Godhead. Maybe take just a moment and scan through your body. Start at the top of your head and just relax your hairline. Move on down. Make sure you're not holding tension in your face and your jaw. But find God's peace and God's calmness. Move on down into your neck and your shoulders and just relax. These are days where we're all very, very tense. May for just the next few moments may we find some calm, some peace. Down into your shoulders and your arms and even your fingers. Maybe stretch your fingers and let them relax. And down through your body, your hips, your thighs, your knees, your calves, even your toes. It's quite a common thing that we do is to even tense up our toes. This is a wonderful moment. It's God's moment. It's your moment. Inhaling, exhaling. For the next few moments, we're going to open up for a time of prayer. This will not be a formal prayer. It will just be a time for petitions, whether that's prayer request or thanksgivings or remembrances. And you can do that in your heart, in your mind. But if you'd like us to stand and agree with you, I encourage you to type in the comment section your prayer request, and I will do my best to read them out just to honor the request, if my eyes will cooperate so that I can see. So I'll play just a little bit and give you a moment to offer your prayers. Karen says for us to pray for the Navajo Nation. Janine, praying for me in my upcoming surgery. Thank you very much. Rex says Hannah's doing great. Cast her off. Thank you for your prayers. We rejoice in that. Ken and Mishan asked for prayers for their students. Wanda asked for prayer for her son, who is deployed. His wife is back home to keep them safe and well. Val prays for her brothers and sisters in Christ that we all may be well and stay well. Prayers from my mom and dad. Sing this with me. God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He's so good to me. Sing it with me. God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He's so good to me. Thank you so much for your participation with our prayers and meditation and for joining in. It means so much for us to gather together, even though we can't do that in person at the moment, to gather virtually and feel one another and feel close to one another, acknowledging that we're sisters and brothers together. As most of you are aware, that we are not permitted at this point, and even if we were, I don't know that we would feel safe to return to in-person public worship. That decision is in the hands of our bishop and may even be in the hands of our next bishop, who will be consecrated the latter part of May. Even though the curve is kind of plateaued, it's still not started down. And for what I understand, for us to return to public worship, like you see in the picture there, and I miss those moments. There has to be 14 straight days of downturn, and that could take a while. So we're meeting virtually. I'm learning more and more every week, like figured out this week how to use my cell phone as an additional camera so I could switch back and forth and make things a little more interesting. Learn to put more and graphics and pictures and things like that. So in between my regular work, doing my best to make these webcasts as interesting and fun as they can be for us. It's amazing. 35 years ago at my dad's church, we had a television ministry, and we had about $40,000 worth of equipment just to be able to have two cameras and switch back and forth. And I made this happen for $2.99, one little app off the App Store, and voila, now we have two cameras and fancy graphics on the screen. The picture there of us holding hands during the Lord's Prayer, that's not how worship will look when we do finally return. We'll take baby steps as things happen and we will do everything in our power to keep everyone safe. To be honest with you, when we started the webcast, I thought it would be just for a few weeks and tried to be consistent with the pattern of Sunday's webcast to be more about Sunday's gospel and prayer and some worship and some music, and Wednesday's podcast to be just kind of an update of news and info and where we are. And I thought things would be happening much quicker. Had no idea that we would be apart this long and things would be this slow. So we're going to change some things up a little bit. Instead of news and information, because every Wednesday there's not necessarily new news to share. We're just having to wait things out. So what we're going to do, we'll keep the Sunday webcast at 10, just like this. And the Wednesday session, we are turning it more into a class and discussion group. It will not be on Facebook Live or YouTube. It will be by email invitation only, and we will use Zoom. That way, those that are willing, you don't have to. You can mute your camera. It's very easy to do at the bottom of the screen in this particular program. You can mute your mic. You can use your mic but not let the camera be on. What we'll do is we would just see your name on the screen and you could listen in. But for those that are willing to enter into discussion, for those that are willing to let us see your face, that would be great. But again, no pressure on that. We will start a class Wednesday, May 13. That's not this Wednesday, but Wednesday week. And what we're going to talk about is the life cycle, the stages of living through a disaster. Now, that could be war, that could be a terrorist attack, it could be a pandemic. I don't think any of us expected our lives to be this disrupted. And there's no doubt it's causing psychological effects on all of us in different ways. And so we'll be studying the life cycle. Everybody's kind of heard of the Kubler-Ross grief cycle, or the stages of grief of denial, anger, depression, bargaining, and acceptance. This is kind of the same thing, and I'll show you quickly the chart. Let's see. There we go. That's the emotional life cycle of a disaster. We'll be working with that together over 3 Wednesdays. That would be May 18, May 20, and May 27. Again, no Wednesday podcast or webcast this week, and I'll tell you why in just a second. I'm having to be my own switcher and my own graphics person and my own musician, but at least we're safe. Here's what we need to do. If you want to participate in this class, and I think it's an important class and very pertinent, email me. The email address is on the screen there at the bottom, stanleyjwhite@me.com. And maybe in the memo section or the subject line, just put Zoom, Z-O-O-M, Zoom, because with my vision, I sometimes miss emails, and this will help me know what I'm supposed to do with your particular email. If you email me Zoom, sometimes early Wednesday, May 13, you'll get an email from me with a link, and all you have to do is click that link and it'll take you right into our Zoom class, and you can participate with video, with sound, or you can just be on and we can't see you or hear you. So we honor your privacy, But please sign up and we'll start this email. We've got about a week and a half to build that list of those who want to participate. Then in June, we'll probably start another class of some sort on the Wednesdays. But there's just not enough upcoming news and information to make a live Facebook webcast and YouTube cast for the Wednesdays. So changing that up just a little bit. Email me, Zoom, I'll make sure you're on the list. Let's see, where are we going to go from here? As most of you know, this month my eyes aren't wanting to participate. Here we go. That's my left eye that last May that I got out of bed and had almost lost full vision out of that left eye. That's a view from my third floor office. It's been a long, frustrating year of 3 surgeries. If you have not heard, I'm happy to report that I will have surgery this coming up Tuesday. So today's Sunday, so 2 days from now. I do not have a confirmed time, but I am confirmed. After they shut down for the weeks, I was first in line, and so I'll be the first of this kind of surgery that they do now that they will be reopening. Saw my retina surgeon this past Wednesday, and she said for me not to listen to the testimonies that folk often give with cataract surgery, that it's a piece of cake and it's almost immediate gratification, and you can tell the difference immediately. She says, my cataract is so dense and thick, and I don't want to make you queasy or anything, but they're going to have to go way back and dig it out. And so she says, my eye is going to swell, and until the swelling goes down, I probably will not. So my recovery time will not be as fast as the normal, ordinary cataract surgery. I'm anxious to get it done because I really want to see. So keep me in your prayers. And that's the reason that that we'll not have anything this Wednesday. I'm sure by Sunday I'll be good and then start the stages of living through a disaster Wednesday, May 13. So keep me in your prayers. I appreciate that very, very much. Oops. Well, forgive me, folk. After this surgery, I should be able to see this stuff better. Okay. Not a lot of folks saw this past Wednesday's news and information because I made a mistake and played a song that was copywritten, and so I apologize. I didn't do it on purpose. We pay a music licenses fee, but I guess the Eagles do not participate in a church licensing fee. And so our Facebook and YouTube webcasts for this past Wednesday were pulled down and now do not exist. But we talked about loving your neighbor as yourself, and that the wearing of masks, and when we do return to public worship, the bishop is asking as we come and go or go to the restroom or down the hall that we somehow cover our face. It's hard to find masks these days. It's even hard to find bandanas or anything. But a dear member of our congregation, Mary Ann Hedden, who is wonderful. Matter of fact, she's probably one of the most unique human beings I know, in that her left brain and right brain operate almost equally. That's me. She may disagree, and I hope I'm not embarrassing her. But She's good at science and those kinds of things as a nurse. She's good with numbers and math, but she's also an artist and extremely creative. You don't see that often. Marianne, we love you. Marianne has handmade 100 masks for our congregation. So if you need a mask, email me. The email is on the screen, stanleyjwhite@me.com. And in the subject line, so I don't miss it, put mask, and then I will contact you and we will figure out a safe way for us to connect so that you can pick up your mask. If you have masks, don't take these just because they're free. Leave them for somebody that really needs them. If you're not going to use it, then don't pick it up just because it's free. But if you need a mask and want a mask, please email me, put in the subject line mask, and you'll hear back from me so that we can figure out how to get that to you safely. Wearing the mask is not just to protect you. It's not a selfish thing. It's to protect our neighbors. And what better witness right now where Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, than when you're out and about and around people and have to be for you to cover your face. So email me and we'll get that moved on to you. I'm sure you all know who that is. That's my German Shepherd, Judd. And of course, that's me. Spontaneously, last week, we wound up with kind of a trivia question, and Joel Grimes won the prize and has Meditations with Meister Eckhart, the book, headed to him. He guessed Gilligan's Island, and he was correct. This one's planned. It's not spontaneous. But the first person today who can tell me Judd's full, formal, and complete name, I'm going to send to your house or the address of your choice the book Meditations with Julian of Norwich. So type in the comment section and we'll get that book to you. I'm not sure if Judd lives with me or if I live with Judd. I bring him up on Good Shepherd Sunday because, like, when I'm outside and I live in the woods or one of the kids go into the woods, Judd always goes and he starts his shepherding. He circles you, like checking the perimeter all the way around to make sure that we're safe, that there's nothing that's going to harm us. He's taking care of us. Wherever I go, he's right there, whether that's to the kitchen to cook, to the shower to shower. When I open the shower, he's right there. Hate to even say it, I can't go to the restroom without him being right there. He has to make sure that I'm safe. Isabella says she thinks it's, Joel says he's already won, so he's not playing. Isabella says, I think I have an unfair advantage. If no one gets it, though, y'all jump in. It's up to you guys. That shepherding reminds me of Jesus, the Good Shepherd, who encircles us, who surrounds us, who's always with us, who never leaves us or forsakes us. Jesus is the Good Shepherd that would lay down his life and did lay his life down for us, as today's gospel says. From John chapter 10, today's gospel, Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. My sheep know my voice, and he knows his sheep's voice. If I say Judd, immediately I have his full, complete attention. Jesus goes on in this gospel, and it ends by Jesus saying, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. The Greek for life there is the word zoe. It's not just biological life. It's spiritual life, emotional life, intellectual life, yes, physical life. But the deeper interpretation of the Greek word zoe is it's the God kind of life, the divine life. You see, the Good Shepherd leads us. The Good Shepherd leads us into the divine life. The psalm for today is the one that's many of our favorites. Psalm 23. I won't read the whole thing. I'm just going to use verses 3 and 4. Verses 3 of Psalm 23 says, He revives my soul. See, the Good Shepherd keeps us alive through all circumstances. He guides me along the right path, a path of safety and wholeness. Verse 4, I think, is important in the time that we're alive right now. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We hold in our hearts those who have perished from the coronavirus, their families that grieve and mourn. It's a strange virus in that some have no symptoms at all and have no idea that they're carrying the virus. Back to why the masks are important if you're out around people. I have a friend that lives in North Georgia that tested positive, and he's going to live, but he said it has been probably the most difficult 2 weeks of his entire life. So though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, physically speaking, it's times like this where all kinds of things die. Old patterns, old ways of being, old ways of doing, old ways of being and doing church, old ways of how we relate to one another, old structures. Something I find very, very interesting while so much of the world has been quarantined, rivers have been clearing up. The air's been clearing up. Some species of animals that were not are now booming. Old ways might die. And that can be uncomfortable. Change is not comfortable. And that's some of the things we're going to talk about in our Wednesday class, the last 3 Wednesdays of May. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. When Bishop Judd walks with us through the woods and circles us, he's with us. If he could speak human talk, I think he would say, don't be afraid, I've got your back. I'm with you, and I'll not leave you or forsake you. I want to thank you all for your faithfulness to this congregation, even though we're not able to have in-person worship. Some of you have been magnificent to mail in your regular tithe and offerings. A few of you, I can tell, have put in extra. Thank you very much. What we do miss, though, are not those regular systematic contributors, but the folk that just occasionally put in a check in the plate or drop cash in the plate. And of course, that's not happening. The text to give is up and working. The first time you do it, you have to put in your name, your email address, and your payment method, and the amount. And if you want to set up on like an auto pay, and you can do that monthly, bi-monthly, weekly, or every 2 weeks. It's easy to cancel. Anytime you want to stop that, it's very easy. After that first text to give, for example, I gave this week, and all you do, I've saved that number, 844-958-0890, in my contacts just as tithe. And I clicked on tithe, put in the amount, hit send. That's all I had to do. So from then on, it's a piece of cake. You can turn on regular giving so it does it for you systematically, and then just one click to stop that when you're ready to stop that. But here's what I would like to ask. You know I don't talk about money often, but if you value Christ the King, if you value what we stand for and what we do here, she needs you. Our parish needs you. Everybody should and can do something. If it's just the cost of a latte a week, $5, let's say. Go in and set it up where $5 automatically is given every little bit put together, and we'll be fine. So again, if you're so inclined, please figure out a way to take care of our church during this time of waiting to return to some sense of normalcy. We're going to close out here in just a second. I love you all. I miss you all very, very much. Please remember that if you need a mass, to email me, put mask in the subject line. If you want to participate in the Zoom class on the cycles or stages of living through a disaster, please email me and put Zoom in the subject line, and I'll add you to that mailing list to make sure before on May 18th you'll get a link that you can click on and then automatically join the class. No one has gotten Bishop Judd's name. Joel jumped in there. He says Bishop Judson Child. That is correct, except there's one more little thing at the end. So you don't quite have it. So I'll give you a chance to get that correct. If not, maybe somebody will know that watches this by delay. We're going to sing one more song to go out, and do hope you have a great day. God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He's so good to me. May God bless you and keep you. May you know He's always encircling you, enclosing you. And even though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, of change, of a new world, He's always with you. God's blessing. Go in peace. And I hope to see you next Sunday.